Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny.
You know what time it is, so sit back and get ready for the Stafford Voice, your dose of conservative in a world of liberal.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, how you doing? I'm your host, Daniel Stafford, and you are listening to the Stafford Voice, where we are conservative in a world of liberal. And tonight, we're going to talk about the corrupt RDNC, profiles in history, and aside from the fact that most of tonight could have fallen underneath who said that, we did find somebody that was completely stuck on stupid and just met unheard of goals and aspirations of stupidity. This particular person needs to be given some sort of award. But before we get into any of that, I want to remind you there are so many ways to listen. So wherever you're at, set this channel as a favorite, whether you're using TuneIn, Spreaker, or all the other different ways you listen. It could even be the YouTubes. Whatever you have to do so you don't get left behind. Just hit the follow button, the subscribe button. Because if for some strange, crazy reason you do miss the show, you will be able to catch the replay. So just sit tight. There is no need to panic because I got you. And in the case you aren't already following on social media, you can do so over on the Twitters at Stafford Voice, or if you're feeling risky, you can jump over onto the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the Snapchats, wherever. All you got to do, just search for the Stafford Voice. And lo and behold, you'll find us there, and, well, hey, you'll probably be disappointed. Anyway. Okay. Speaking of disappointed, let me just start by reminding you that, yes, last week was the Republican National Convention. This week, it's the Democrat National Convention. It's just convention after convention. I know, you're disappointed. The last thing you wanted to hear tonight was talking about the RDNC, but we've got to talk about it. I mean, listen, you thought that the Republican convention was crazy? And we're not talking teepee for me bunghole crazy here. No, we're not talking, I am the great Cornell. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about what happened at the very end. And it bled over into all of the weekend. Next thing you know, we've got corruption within the Democrat National, whatever you call it. We've proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Democrat Party is completely corrupt. They don't care. It's just in your face right now. More on that in a minute, because I want to touch on something that I have not seen a lot of people talk about. Listen, Ronald Reagan, arguably the most loved Republican president, and just happened to be, yes, you guessed it, a conservative. Okay? Back in 1976, the Republican race was just as heated as what we're seeing today. Between Reagan and Gerald Ford. And now we're seeing it unfold with Cruz and Trump. Or we did see it unfold with Cruz and Trump. But In 1976, in Kansas City, at the conference, Ford had asked Reagan to make some impromptu remarks. In a nutshell, this is what it boils down to. 1, he thanked Gerald Ford. 2, he talked about the platform for conservatism. 3, he addressed the opposing party and their threat. And number 4, he spoke on the future. And he closed his remarks by saying this, quote, "This is our challenge, and this is why here in this hall tonight, better than we have ever done before, we have got to quit talking to each other and about each other and go out and communicate to the world that we may be fewer in numbers than we have ever been, but we carry the message they are waiting for. We must go forth from here united." Now, let's take a quick second to parallelize that with what Cruz said in his speech. 1, he thanked his opponent, Donald Trump. 2, he talked about and promoted the platform for conservatism. 3, he laid out why you should not vote for a Democrat and how dangerous they were for the country. And 4, he addressed the importance of this election on the future. That's pretty much what Reagan did, isn't it? That's what I'm hearing a lot of people ask right now. Yes! And so how did Cruz pretty much end his remarks? He said, quote, "And to those listening, please don't stay home in November. If you love our country and love your children as much as I know you do, stand and speak and vote your conscience." More on that one in a bit. But vote for candidates up and down the ticket who you trust to defend our freedom and to be faithful to the Constitution. And he ended his remarks with this, quote, "We will unite the party. We will unite the country by standing together for shared values, by standing for liberty." Cruz is no idiot. However, Trump wants to paint Cruz as a complete and utter buffoon. In the end, neither Reagan or Cruz outright said the words, "I endorse so-and-so as the nominee." It didn't happen. Because Reagan understood what was at stake. We know based off of history what happened. What happened, I think, what we wind up with? Carter? And then what happened? We had Reagan. We had the Reagan Revolution. So what are we getting ready to be faced with? What are we faced with right now? We're faced with probably the most corrupt Democrat the world has ever seen, Hillary Clinton, and a Democrat light, Donald Trump. Either way we go, we're going to get a Democrat. I mean, the other day I had somebody come up to me and say, look, everything I heard in Donald Trump's speech said Democrat. I said, so why are you going to vote for him? Why? Well, I mean, he's the lesser of two evils. That's exactly the damn problem here, people. We continue to devote the lesser of two evils. At what point are we going to stand on principle, stand on our morals, and uphold our values, and do the right thing? In the end, you still are left with evil. But don't get me wrong, I mean, nobody's out there is more evil and corrupt than the Democrats. I mean, I'm not even going to mention the fact that they have an 8-foot tall fence around the convention right now in Philly, or that you have to that you're required to show ID, before you enter the convention. I mean, that's the last thing I want to talk. I don't want to call them out on the fact that they erected a fence to keep out people who aren't supposed to be there, or how racist they say, how much they say the Republican Party is racist because they want voter ID, but they want to check your ID when you enter the convention. Anyway, that's a whole different story. We're not even going to touch on it. But they've proved to all of us what we've been saying all along. And that is that the system is rigged. You know, before I get ahead of myself, one of the things that Cruz said was that he came under fire for was vote your conscience. Everybody jumped all over him for that. Because he was basically, Cruz said that I need to vote my conscience, and that that's not saying I should vote Republican. I don't care that he said that, but that to me says he doesn't endorse Trump or the Republican Party at all. That means I should go out and vote for Hillary. No, dummy, that's not what he's saying. But you would think that at the end of the day, nobody would say the words voting your conscience again in the Republican Party. Nobody would say it. But this happened. Check this out.
Let me get your reaction to what we just saw. Bernie Sanders heckled when he said, go ahead and vote for Hillary Clinton. When you saw that, what was your reaction?
Well, my reaction is that they were lied to, and the DNC committed a fraud upon them, their own party, their grassroots, and they committed a fraud on the American people. My reaction is they're ticked off. They have a right to be. They were lied, and Hillary Clinton is their nominee based on false pretenses. And so, I mean, I'm not sure whether they have any mechanism to vote their conscience on the floor and rectify the problem or not, but clearly these people were lied to in the most personal way.
Wait a minute. Reince Priebus just said vote your conscience and nobody jumped over it? Nobody jumped on that one? Nobody. It fell on deaf ears. Well, but that's because they're talking about the Democrats. I mean, don't they go to bed early because they're old? Well, partly, but listen. The very party that jumped down Cruz's throat for saying the words, vote your conscience, just sent out their representative, the head of the party, Reince Priebus. And he said to vote your conscience. I think they honestly think that they are so elite that they can do whatever they want and say whatever they want, and you'll just fall right in line. I mean, that's what the Democrat Party thinks. They genuinely think that. And thanks to the 19,252 emails that WikiLeaks leaked out, these were emails between people in the DNC. So we have the head of the DNC, Debbie Was-A-Man Schultz. I call her a Was-A-Man because I just, you get really close and you look at a picture of her face. It's just, huh? Really? I mean, I'm scratching my forehead here trying to figure out if it's, yeah, well, she's a guy, so. But Was-A-Man is as corrupt as they come and basically was forced to step down, but within the matter of seconds, she was quickly snatched up by Hillary Clinton. I mean, after all, we know Debbie was a man, was in the camp with Hillary back in 2008. Oh, geez. Army John in the chat room. Man, I got to remember to start. I got to write that down somewhere and hang it over. And so it's like a carrot in front of a rabbit, because I keep forgetting to tell you guys about the chat room. Oh, if you're listening live and you want to chat with like-minded individuals, please, there's two different places you can go to get to the chat room. K98talk.org/chat-room, or you can go to the staffordvoice.com/listen live. Where did it go? He said, Debbie Wasserman Schultz's intro music opening the DNC convention should have been Dude Looks Like a Lady by Aerosmith. I'm dying inside right now. And yes, Paul, like-minded, it is a scary thought, but seriously, you're the one that needs to question yourself, because you stuck around for this. Maybe you're just hoping that this whole thing crashes and burns. Anyway, so was a man, got dropped by as the head of the DNC, gets instantly hired by the Clintons. The interim chair, Donna Brazile, gets fired from CNN for helping Miss Adams Apple, basically because together and with a handful of other people for rigging the outcome of the election. She replaces was a man. Ladies and gentlemen, write this down. Debbie Was a Man Schultz, the head of the DNC, gets fired for colluding and teamed up with other people, trashed the hell out of Bernie Sanders. It gets leaked out. She gets fired, forced to step down, instantly gets hired by the person who they were trying to get elected, Hillary Clinton. Her right-hand person, Brazile, gets dropped from CNN and then gets promoted to head the DNC. It's scary. I'd rather go give myself a swirly. It's got to be better than trying to wrap your head around this crap. Oh, listen, liberalism is honestly and truly a mental disorder. We've said it how many times? Liberalism is a mental disorder, and this just proves it. I mean, here's another one that probably could have been filed under Who Said That. This is the Democrat Party. Check it.
Not just believe, but understands that Black Lives Matter. But we also recognize that our communities and our law enforcement work best when they work together. Our party knows that diversity is not our problem, but it is our promise. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, that's why ours is a party of unity and not division.
Okay. That was Elijah Cummings. Okay, I mean, he spoke at the Snooze Fest He spoke at the DNC today, and that's what he said. That the Democrat Party is a party of unity. Let's wrap your head around that for just a second. The party that did not have one single person vote to free the slaves is now promoting a black guy that says they are a party of unity amongst a bunch of old, rich, white people trying to get elected to the highest possible office in the United States. And he says that the Democrats are the party of unity. They're united in stupidity, I'll give them that. But let me ask this. If they're the party of unity, then why do they divide themselves? Why do they divide themselves on day one of the Democrat National Convention? They divided themselves based on race. Why? I won't understand it. I mean, for how long now has half the country been out there saying that all lives matter versus in large part, Democrats out there saying that no, only certain lives matter. Only black lives matter. How come there's no groups of Latino lives matter? Or American Indian lives matter? Or Pacific Islander lives matter? Well, maybe they didn't get the right instructions. Because those instructions were probably handed out on day one of the DNC from 10 to 12 Eastern Time, when they broke everybody up and sent them their separate ways, where you had a black caucus, you had a Hispanic caucus, more on Hispanics here in just a bit, you had an ethnic council, you had the Asian American and Pacific Islander caucus, and you also had the Native American Council. Boy, Army John is on a roll tonight. I mean, right? He said that the DNC stands for does not compute, and I don't get it. Slickery Trigger. I mean, you guys, everybody knows Slickery Trigger from the twits. He said, "Heaven forbid someone says white Western European lives matter." Well, only in an elite circle does white Western European lives matter. Okay, let's just sum it up. Hillary Clinton's life matters, okay? That's all we have to realize, is that getting Hillary Clinton elected by any means necessary is what matters. That's the only thing that matters. They went so far. They went so far that in one of the leaked emails, they talked about how important the Hispanic vote was. To them, it's basically everything. Here, let me read this to you. This is from one of the leaked emails. And after this we'll change it up for the night, and we'll do our profiles in history, and then we'll make fun of somebody that's completely stuck on stupid. Let me read this to you. This is when they're talking, quote, specifically Hispanic millennials are now larger than the current baby boomer demographic and growing. There is one shot to capture this demographic or lose the window of opportunity for generations. They touched on 5 things. Number 1, Hispanics are the most brand loyal consumers in the world. Known fact. And that part's bold. Number 2, Hispanic brand loyalty is generational. And in bold, entire families. Number 3, once a brand loses this loyalty, Hispanics never re-engage. And in bold, unforgiving. Number 4, if a brand earns this loyalty, Hispanics will always be loyal and influence family and extended family to be loyal. AKA, in bold, long-term relationship. This is probably a real similar message that they gave so many years ago, back when oh man, I can't remember who it was that said it. If you're in the chat room and you remember who said who it was that said something along the lines, he'll have he'll have them voting Democrats for the rest of for who knows how long. Oh, I can't remember who it was. Anyway, if you pick up on it, yeah, okay, there you go. Thank you, John. Lyndon B. Johnson, he said something along the lines of he'll have them voting Democrat for the rest of their lives. For 200 years. Thank you. Number 5, Hispanics are the most responsive to, quote-unquote, storytelling. That, in bold, brands need to, quote, speak with us. So basically, the Democrat National Party put this together, and they look at Hispanics as though they're just statistics, and that's it. They're just a consumer. They're not talking about what they're going to do to help promote Hispanic culture or help promote Hispanic millennials. They don't care about any of that. The only thing they care about is getting Hillary Clinton elected. And if you're in the chat room, Angie's technician, aka Pointless Poll on the Twitters, has said PBJ. No, it was not PBJ. It was LBJ. I mean, I know I said that I was going to end talking about this, but let me end on talking about a PB&J sandwich I had the other day. And we'll go to break after this. I made myself it was a triple decker. I mean, this was an incredible sandwich. The first layer, obviously, bread. So we had 3 layers of bread. The first layer, bread. Then we had creamy peanut butter. Then we had a layer of Nutella. Bread, Nutella, and then, get this, I'm going to blow your minds with this. This made the whole sandwich. The very last layer before the top layer of bread, marshmallow fluff. Boom, that's it. Mic drop. I'm leaving it with that. When we come back, we're going to talk about profiles in history. I'm done talking about the sickness with the RDNC, this and that. It's not a party. It's just showing how stupid some people really, really are. So I'm done with it. It's time that we move on. And when we come back, we're going to learn something. We are going to learn something. I promise. I am your host, Daniel Stafford, and you are listening to the Stafford Voice, where we are conservative in a world of liberal. We'll be right back. Nothing will protect you quite like your sidearm, so why not give it the protection it deserves? Something as strong as the Second Amendment and stands the test of time, and better yet, made in the USA. A Rebel Road Tactical Custom Kydex holster is that and more. Call now and place your order with Rebel Road Tactical at 682-217-4579. Again, 682-217-4579, or online at rebelroadtactical.com.
It's happening and nothing can stop it. It's the dramatic reinvention of Talk Radio.
Here come the spy dolphins.
The only thing that can cure racism is Robert E. Lee's penis.
Who named this cat Limberbutt McCubbin? A Trump-Biden debate.
Plugs versus rugs. Real serious nonsense. A show so bad you'll laugh at us.
The worst podcast. We obviously hold that title.
Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern on K98 Talk.
Some crowdfunding sites are too liberal and keep more for themselves. Even worse, if they don't like you or someone gets offended, they'll cancel your campaign. But not at RWNJ Funding. They hold true to conservative and libertarian values. Plus, they won't cave to the PC crowd. More importantly, they believe in you. RWNJFunding.com. The right cause, the right values, done right. RWNJFunding.com.
Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Conservative in a world of liberal.
The Stafford Voice.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And if you're just tuning in, you are tuned into the Stafford Voice, where we are conservative. That's right, conservative in a world of liberal. You just heard about two of our great sponsors, Rebel Road Tactical and RWNJ Funding. Please do me a favor. Go check them out. You will not be let down by the two great things that they have to offer. One of them, yes, I know it sounds weird to promote a crowdfunding site, but when a crowdfunding site like RWNJ comes along and they care as much about what you put out there that you do. They care equally, and they're not going to get ticked off, and they don't play that liberal PC crap. They really do care. They're not going to shut it down. And if you don't know anything about Rebel Road Tactical, do me a favor. Go to their website. I think it's rebelroadtactical.com. Read about them. Our good buddy Slickery Trigger and his wife, they run Rebel Road Tactical. They do a fantastic job. Probably the best conceal and carry holsters on the market. I mean, it should be your only stop when you need your next holster, because it's going to last the rest of your life. Enough about that. It's time to learn something. And this week's Profiles in History is Josiah Bartlett. He was born on November 21st, 1729. In Amesbury, Massachusetts. And in his teens, he began his study of medicine, and before the age of 21, he moved to Kingston, New Hampshire, where he began his practice. In that part of the county, he was the only doctor. Well, on January 15th, 1753, he married his cousin, Mary Barton. I know, he married his cousin. Through the years, they would have 3 sons and 7 daughters. All 3 of their sons and 7 of their grandsons would become physicians. Now, as it would be, he became active in the local political affairs, where he would gain a reputation that put him on a career in politics. In 1765, Bartlett was elected to the Colonial Assembly, and 2 years later, he became the colonel of the county militia, as well as being appointed Justice of the Peace by Governor John Wentworth. As the Revolution neared, so did the opposition he had with the governor, who would strip him of his positions. In 1774, Bartlett was elected as a delegate alongside John Pickering to the First Continental Congress, but had to decline after his house mysteriously burned down. Now, it's thought to be by the hands of British loyalists, but they still don't know. However, in 1775, he would again be selected, where he would be the only delegate from New Hampshire in attendance. Most of the work was carried out by committees, and the most important delegates from each state would serve on all of them. And being Josiah was the only delegate attending, he served on all of them, including safety, secrecy, munitions, marine, and even civil government. This put quite the toll on Bartlett, where he would express his concerns via the letters he sent back to New Hampshire. He also knew what the agenda would be as he was set to go to the Continental Congress in 1776. He said, quote, "The time is now at hand when we shall see whether America has virtue enough to be free or not." He would later be joined by William Whipple and Matthew Thornton. And it was customary at the time for the voting order to work north to south. And being New Hampshire was as far north as they could go, Bartlett was the first to stand and voice his assent to sever ties with Great Britain. Now that was because the county that he was in was the northernmost county in the northernmost state. When he spoke, his voice was so loud, he was practically shouting his vote for independence. He was also the first to vote to adopt the Declaration of Independence. Now, had John Hancock not been president of Congress, Bartlett likely would have been the first to sign the document as well. Now, due to fatigue, Josiah declined to return to Congress in 1777, but was reelected the following year, where he served on the committee to draft the Articles of Confederation. After they were adopted, Bartlett returned back to New Hampshire to attend to some personal business. All the time he spent serving in Congress, his wife Mary stayed at home to manage the farm, saw to the completion of rebuilding their home, and cared for all of their children. Now, back home in New Hampshire, he returned to his role as judge, serving in the Court of Common Pleas. In 1782, Bartlett was appointed to the New Hampshire Supreme Court despite not having been a lawyer. Later, in 1788, he was made Chief Justice to the Supreme Court. It was during that same year he would be a delegate for New Hampshire at the convention to adopt the Constitution, where he argued for its ratification, which took place on June 21st, 1788. The New Hampshire State Legislature selected him to be a U.S. Senator, but he would decline. On July 14th, 1789, his wife Mary would pass away. But that didn't deter Josiah from public or private service. Drawn to his first profession, he secured legislation in 1790 for a charter for the New Hampshire Medical Society, of which he was the first president. He would also be elected as chief executive of New Hampshire, where he would serve until the adoption of the state constitution, upon which he would be governor. He resigned in 1794 due to his declining health, and it was on May 19th, 1795, that Josiah Bartlett would pass away. And that is this week's Profile in History. Now, when we come back, we will talk about, that's right, who said that. We're going to need a few minutes for this person. Again, you are tuned into the Stafford Voice. I am your host, Daniel Stafford, where we are conservative in a world of liberal, and we'll be right back.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level, or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
This is JD.
And this is Stacy.
Join us Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern for Game On. Remember,
lock up the children and the old folks.
Game On, the home of liberalism conservatism.
Where no one is safe, no one is spared, not even the hosts.
Oh, that was supposed to be a spin cycle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. We love you anyway. Right round, baby.
Self-monitoring
right
Ebola
anyway.
radio strikes again.
Anyway.
Anybody see the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? For God's sake, I need an antidote.
Just do your rant. Let's pop out of the segment.
Has to do with
Find us on Twitter at JD and Stacy.
You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whether you're an employee or business owner, when it comes to the correct course of legal action, it's the first step that is important. And make that first step with attorney Ted Hong. You need someone you can trust and has the experience you need when it comes to workplace and employment law. If you've lost your employment due to discrimination, false accusations, or being denied benefits, you need Ted Hong. Or if you're an employer who wants to ensure compliance with workplace regulations and labor contracts, you need Ted Hong. Ted and his team also cover family and property law and estate litigation as well. Ted has over 30 years of experience, and him and his amazing legal team will provide you cost-effective legal consultation and make the experience all about you and your needs. For more information or to set up a consultation, contact the law office of Ted Hong at 808-933-1919 or visit tedhonglaw.com. Ted Hong, an experienced and principled attorney you can trust. 808-933-1919 or tedhonglaw.com.
Conservative in a world of liberal.
The Stafford Voice.
All right, we are back. Let me just say this. That is probably one of my favorite segments to do for the show. I spend at least 10 to 15 hours every week researching those individuals who signed the Declaration of Independence. I never imagined I would learn so much about people that you just bypass because they signed a piece of paper. I mean, I absolutely love learning about the people from the Revolution, from those who helped draft, and I mean, we owe a lot to those people, to those men and women, their wives. I mean, look at what the wife of Josiah Bartlett had to go through. I mean, the whole time that Josiah Bartlett is in Philadelphia and working tirelessly for freedom and liberty, and his wife is back home with 9 kids, because I think one of them I think passed away at birth. 9 kids. Don't quote me on that one. 9 kids. Basically rebuilding the house fell on her shoulders after the mysterious fire. And she had to manage that farm. How many of us could have been able to do, how many of us today would be able to do what she did and to still fully support her husband and what he was doing? It was very special group of people, and we owe them the respect to go back and look at their lives. Okay. And it also freaks me out of how silent the chat room goes when we do the profiles in history. It's those history segments. The chat room just basically falls dead silent. Completely freaks me out, and I'm thinking, oh my God, did I lose everybody? What happened? Are we dead air right now? Oh, thanks, Army John. And I know you guys are, because you guys, after every single one of them, you guys jump back in, and I'm thinking, oh, I reach for a rag and I pat my forehead because I'm sweating so bad. I'm glad you guys love that segment. I mean, I look forward to putting those together for you. It's it really is a blast. I don't even tell my wife half the stuff that I find during research, because she's sitting here and it's news to her just as much, a lot of you guys. But it's my goal to help inform you guys and make sure that you guys listening are the smartest listening audience. I mean, you guys are not only are armed with the truth, but armed with the history and the statistics to back it up. Now, let's have a little bit of fun. I know it's that time, yes. It is that time. It's time for Who Said That? If you're new to the show, Who Said That is the last segment of the show, and we just want to make okay, let's just say it as easy as we can. We just want to make fun of somebody that said something completely stupid and removed all doubt that they are stuck on stupid. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican, a Democrat, a conservative, a libertarian, a liberal, whatever. It doesn't matter. If you say something stupid, by all means, allow us to share it so we can highlight it and make fun of you in the process. This week, this particular person you guys know rubs me the wrong way because he's turned his back on this country so many times. Anyway, without further ado, here you go.
Yesterday, I met in Washington with 45 nations, defense ministers and foreign ministers, as we were working together on the challenge of Daesh, ISIL, and terrorism. It's hard for some people to grasp it, but what you are doing here right now is of equal importance, because it has the ability to literally save life on the planet itself.
Okay. Judging by the sound of Horseface, you know who that was. John Kerry. Recently, he was out at some stupid meeting trying to overturn some sort of agreement where we need to basically trying to make sure that we get rid of using something that works really good because it puts out pollutants. Now, I couldn't find the entire segment that I wanted to share with you guys, and lucky for all of us, even myself, I didn't want to listen to the sound of that screeching. I almost called him a retard. I couldn't listen to him any longer. But after saying that, he said, Tina, I would rather listen to a cow fart than listen to John Kerry. And I don't even know what a cow fart sounds like. But it's got to smell better than anything that comes out of his mouth. Anyway, he said, quote, "The use of hydrofluorocarbons is unfortunately growing. Already, the HFC's use in refrigerators, air conditioners, and other items are emitting an entire gigaton of carbon dioxide equivalent pollution into the atmosphere annually." Now, if that sounds like a lot, my friends, it's because it is. It's the equivalent to emissions from nearly 300 coal-fired power plants every year. Okay, rewind for just a second. HFCs, hydrofluorocarbons, are what are used in your refrigerators and your air conditioners. It's basically what we use to help cool things. You know, it's what makes your refrigerator cold. Keeps stuff fresh, makes it last longer. It's what makes your air conditioner work. It's what cools the air. And it's... Listen. If you've looked at mainstream media and seen what the temperatures are, you will notice that even Satan has turned on his air conditioner because it is so damn hot here in the Midwest. It's that hot. Seriously. And this jackhole is out there peddling the idea that ISIS is nothing compared to the damaging effects of these hydrofluorocarbons. Yes, Slick, I know it's hotter. Today we actually got a breath of decent air. It was nice. It was about the mid-80s. It wasn't 140 or 50 or 60 degrees. But I've spent time in Texas. Texas gets just absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, I don't have a lot of nice things to say about John Kerry. I'm pretty sure you guys know that aside from the fact he's turned his back on this country since Vietnam, he fought to help Iran get the deal. And now this jerkwad is out there saying that Obama's JV squad, ISIS, is not near as deadly as the air conditioner cooling your house. I'm just going to say, if he wound up getting punched in the face, it would probably bring a tear to my eye. I really do not like that guy. Not one bit. Can't stand him. It's Horseface Kerry. The guy ticks me off. I got a list of people that really tick me off, and he's up there. Anyway, you know what? I'm looking at the time, and we're almost out. So that's where we're going to leave it. That's all the time we have for this week, and God willing, the Stafford Voice will be back next week. You can follow me on the Twitters at Stafford Voice, or you can find me on the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the Twitters, I already talked about the Twitters. Jesus, it's been a long day. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, wherever the heck you are out there in the middle of the world. Just search for the Stafford Voice. I'll be there. I personally reply to every comment. And by the way, if you saw tonight's teaser, it was courtesy of Army John. He put that together, and it was awesome. Nothing cooler than a tank firing, shooting out thumbs ups to everybody. Thank you, John, for putting that together. It was absolutely amazing. Loved it. I'm going to have to save that one back so we can use it again. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to email them to me at thestaffordvoice@gmail.com. Thank you so much for your time, and until next week, thanks and God bless.